Hi everybody, Jeremy here from Video Editor Studio, and today I'm gonna share with you how to create this quote title in Davinci Resolve. Let's check it out. Alright, so now let's jump right into it on how to create this title. I'm gonna go over to Effect, go down here in Effect, and I'm gonna bring a new Fusion composition in my timeline. Then we're just gonna click on it and go over to Fusion, and here in Fusion, we're gonna start to build this title. First off, I'm gonna bring two texts because I know I'm gonna need two texts for that quote title. I'm gonna need the actual phrase or sentence, and I'm gonna need the name of the author of that sentence. Here, I'm gonna open my inspector so I can see all the details, and I'm just gonna close that window right here. And then first text, I'm gonna put a first sentence, I love Davinci Resolve, for example. And the second one, right here on text 2, I'm gonna put by Video Editor Studio, VES. So we're just gonna link those two, and we're gonna just here in merge one show up that on our window. Here now in text 1, we're gonna just change the font. I would like to have something a bit different, so we're gonna go with bunch shrift for this one, and same here for text 2. I'm gonna click it and I'm gonna switch the font right there. Now let's modify the placement of our text. So I'm gonna bring here text 2, which is the author name, down there. I'm gonna reduce it a little bit, so Video Editor Studio, and actually I'm gonna bring another dash right here. And I'm gonna reduce a bit also text 1 because right now it's quite big. I'm gonna bring it a bit down because we're gonna bring an icon at the top later on. And here text 2, actually I'm gonna switch font, and instead of going with bold, we're gonna go with regular to create a bit of difference between the two texts. And I'm gonna bring the size again a little bit down like so. Now that we have our text, I'm gonna need to create the icon for the quote. You can do that by importing a SVG. So here you could, for example, go over in Fusion and import a SVG file if you have an SVG file of a quote, or you could do it with a PNG. Right now I'm gonna show how to do it from scratch here in Fusion in hope to explain you a bunch of technique along the way. So first off here, I'm gonna bring a new background node, and then I'm gonna add a circle node on top of that ellipse node, and I'm gonna just bring that visually here in my screen. Here we're gonna untoggle solid, and what it does essentially is that now if I were to raise border width, we got just the outline of the circle. So now we're just gonna link the width and the height together so we keep a perfect circle easily. And so to do that, I'm just gonna here right click on width, show expression, and then I'm gonna link that expression with the height, and then we can just reduce everything and we keep and retain a perfect circle. Now I'm just gonna bring down a bit the border width to have something that is a bit thinner right here. And now I'm just gonna raise a bit my ellipse in my workspace, and in between the ellipse and the background, we're gonna bring a rectangular mask. So here I have ellipse selected. I'm gonna click on rectangle mask, and here we got it now in between the ellipse and the background, and we're gonna use that to create a new shape. So as you can see right now, it's covering completely the circle, but it's still there, as you can see if I reduce it. And now I'm just gonna make it like a square, and I'm just gonna move it around there, maybe a bit smaller. I'm gonna have it a bit thinner like that. I'm gonna have one angle of the square around the middle of the circle, and I want to have it like fairly small like so. I think it's fine, maybe a teeny bit smaller like that. Perfect, I'm happy with that. And now magic here, if we go to paint mode, we can switch it from merge to subtract, for example. That's not what we want to do right now, but basically you can change the blending mode of a mask to create new shape out of rectangle and circle. So right here, I'm gonna do minimum, and what it's gonna do, it's gonna basically create one part of our quote icon. So that is done, perfect. Now I'm just gonna select rectangle 1, I'm gonna copy and then paste it, and I'm gonna bring a new background, and I'm gonna link that to the new background, and then I'm gonna link the two backgrounds together with a merge node. Perfect, let's bring that on screen. And here I'm just gonna bring now that square down a little bit, and then a bit on the side Here we go. So now we have one of our two quote icon, and to just duplicate it, what I'm gonna do, I'm just simply gonna select everything, just right click on it, and here we're just gonna group everything so it's easy visually. And then I'm just gonna copy and paste it. And here we're just gonna link those two together. And then I'm just gonna bring here on group one, I'm gonna hit shift space to bring my bar, and I'm gonna look for transform. I'm gonna select transform, bring that in, and then we're just gonna move that aside right there. We're gonna just bring it to merge here so we can see what we're doing. And then I'm just gonna move it right there, and now we got our icon. Now to change the color of those two at the same time, we're just going to bring again a new background, and you can just link the merge to the background. And now if we wanted to change the color, for example here to purple, we can do that easily, and now the colors of the icon is changed completely. Right now I'm just gonna reset it to black, and we're gonna include that new element that we just created with our current quote title. So here I'm gonna link the background 3 with the merge to bring that in our composition, and then I'm just gonna select my merge 4 right here so we have everything on screen. And then here the background, I'm gonna hit shift space once again and bring a new transform node so we can then just adjust the size and the position of that icon and bring it in frame like so. Now I'm gonna make the color of that icon a bit more interesting here by selecting background 3 and switching from solid color to here gradient, and then we're gonna select, I don't know, for example some purple and some red right here, some purple, and then we're gonna select some red right there, and here we got some gradient color. We can then just move around those two color. Here we go, and we've created a color gradient in our icon. So now that we have pretty much the layout of our title, we want to create the animation. To do the animation, it's gonna be pretty simple. We're gonna need to animate here the text of the author, the sentences, and then the icon. So first off, let's start with the icon. Here for the icon, we're gonna do something very simple. We're gonna do a size animation. So I'm gonna go at the frame 25. Here it's at the final size that I want, and I'm gonna just hit keyframe here on size, and then I'm just gonna go down to 0, and we're gonna bring the size down to 0. Perfect. Now let's open the spline editor, and here we're gonna select the size, and we're gonna make some modification to the curve, because right now, as you can see, it's linear, so the animation doesn't look very clean. We want something that looks a bit more natural. To do that, we're gonna hit right here, so we have all the points in the spline editor. We can just select those 2 points, and on our keyboard we can just hit the letter S or click right there on smoothing out the curve. Here I'm just gonna play it again so you can see the difference. It's already a bit smoother. We're gonna go a step further and adjust a bit that curve. So I'm gonna hit the letter T on my keyboard. Then here we're gonna adjust the ease in, and we're gonna go up to about 80. Now let's play it again. And we got something that looks a bit more natural in my opinion. Now we're gonna animate text 1. So we're gonna just select here text 1, and we're gonna use for that technique called follower. So I'm gonna here right click on text, and I'm gonna click on follower, and it basically allows us here to make our animation within that follower modifier in the modifier tab. So here the range, I'm gonna let it as all character. Instead of automatic, I'm gonna go with outside in, and here I want something between each character, so I'm gonna let it like that, and we're gonna reduce it maybe here at I don't know, -0.25, something like that. It's basically gonna be a delay between the animation of the letter you're gonna see later on. I'm gonna click on the 25th frame to add my keyframe, and we're gonna go here in shading, and I'm gonna put 1 keyframe here on opacity, so at 1, and I'm gonna go down in position and I'm gonna let 1 keyframe here on offset Z. And now we're just gonna go down to 0, and in offset Z, I'm gonna go at -25. And then I'm just gonna go here at opacity 0. Now in the spline editor, let's just unselect the transform 2, and now we have only text 1, and then I'm just gonna click right here so I can see all my points. I'm just gonna select everything right there, And on my keyboard, again, I'm gonna smooth out the curve by either clicking there or hitting the letter S. And same thing, I'm gonna hit here the letter T if you don't have the easy in and easy out appearing, and I'm gonna bring that to about 80 again. And now if we play it, as you can see, we've already made pretty good progress in that animation. Now we're gonna make the last animation on the author name. So then we're gonna click on the text too, and here it's gonna be a very, very simple one. We're gonna do a write on animation. So I'm gonna go at the 25th frame. I'm gonna add a keyframe here, and then I'm gonna go to keyframe 0, and I'm gonna bring here the write on down to 0. So now if we play it, we have our quote title. You've learned how to do an icon in Davinci. You've learned how to use the follower modifier in Davinci and how to do a simple write on animation. I hope this video was helpful. Again, don't forget that you can just download this title by clicking the link in the description below, and then you'll be able to just use it here from the edit page. Just drag it in your timeline and make the modification as you wish. This sample is from our minimal quote pack. You can check it out on our website. Thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next one. Bye. Speed up your workflow and create better videos using the pack available on our website, including titles, transition, and templates, but only for Davinci Resolve. Get started today by downloading our free starter pack containing a compilation of 20 titles curated from our library. Link in the description below or at videoeditorstudio.com.